What's up, Canes fans? Peter Ariz here, coming at you live following Miami Canes hoops 88-64 win over Binghamton. Just got back from the game a few moments ago, and really a solid performance for the Canes basketball team tonight. Again, 88-64 win over Binghamton. Well-rounded performance all around. We will get into all the details of it in just a moment. Remember to get your questions in the comments, as we will be covering Canes hoops at a high level all year long, consistently after every game. We're going to do these post-game shows just like we do for the football shows as well, which obviously tough loss yesterday for the football team. Check out that podcast on the channel. Remember to like and subscribe on Canes Insight. Everywhere you get your podcasts, on YouTube, and then canesinsight.com. But we are coming at you today with Canes hoops, now 2-0 on the season. Sunday afternoon game, pretty good crowd, I have to say, for, obviously everyone is disappointed after the football loss yesterday, and it's a Sunday afternoon. People are at home, hanging out, relaxing. You have NFL going on as well. But for a non-conference opponent early in the season, where it's not a high-profile name, I have to say I give props to the fans who are out there. Again, 2 p.m. on a Sunday, and Miami wins this game 88-64. Just getting into the box score, getting into some of the numbers here, and then I'll get into some of my observations as someone who is a season ticket holder and there at every game. The ghost of Navon Donaldson, appreciate you checking in, man, and appreciate the 100+ who are on here right now. This is a basketball show, man, so we'll get into football week. D-Money and I did our football recap on the game immediately after the game yesterday, so check that out on the Canes Insight channel if you have not already. But all week long, of course, we'll be talking about the game from the weekend. Miami has a bye week coming up here, so we have a lot of stuff to discuss. We'll get into that. But this is about the basketball team, and it was a good win for them tonight, as, they ease into the season somewhat. So you had the season opener last Monday. You now have this game against Binghamton here. You have another game next Sunday, same time, Sunday at 2 p.m. against Coppin State. And then the 21st, the following weekend, you will then have the Charleston tournament, where that's where you'll start to get some real competition, I think, at that point. But tonight, just looking at the numbers, and again, I was there, so I'll give my observations in just a second. But Nigel Pack, Jalen Blackman, 17 points apiece there, and that's, both of those guys can shoot it. They can really score the basketball. And those are the starting 1 and 2 right there. As we get into ACC play, the defensive side of the basketball is going to be very important to watch with those two, since they're not very big. But again, the pressure that they put on the opposing defense with their ability to shoot the basketball, both of them can handle the basketball, both of them can pass it. So those two together, they're very tough to stop if you're defending them. But we will see what happens moving forward. But again, leading the team there with 17 points apiece. Brandon Johnson leading the team with 31 minutes tonight. And I likened him a bit to Jordan Miller. Not because their style of play is very different players, but I think he's going to be the steady, consistent go-to guy. And even if, he scored 10 points tonight, but 7 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and not only myself, but some people I was there with, watching the game with, everyone points out the same thing: the way he attacks the rebound, the way he attacks the basketball, big body. And I gotta say, there, people who are watching this right now, if you're in the comments, let me know if you agree or not. But and if you're watching, Binghamton was big. This was a team that had some real size, 6'8", 6'9" across the board in multiple positions. Their guards were not small. I mean, these were athletic guys. Binghamton, we'll see what ends up happening if they have a chance to compete for a conference title in their conference. But just seeing these guys, I've been going to these games for 15 plus years now. And you see a lot of these lower level teams and they just don't have the athletes. Binghamton, man, watch out for them. I gotta say they weren't a bad team, one bit. Appreciate everyone who's on here right now. 220 plus live, like and subscribe. We were talking Canes Hoops, their win over Binghamton, 2-0. And look, we were disappointed last year after the way that the team comes back after a Final Four season, and there were a lot of new faces, a lot of new names in place. Some guys who did not take that next step. This year, you have 9 new players on the team. I think you have a lot of competition. You have a lot of guys vying for playing time early in the season. Coach Larinaga, someone who doesn't love to trust young talent. And it's not because he doesn't believe that they can be good players. He's done it before where guys are getting big minutes for this team. But you have a lot of veterans on this team in terms of the Brandon Johnson of the world, who I think is going to be, one of the star players of this team. AJ Stade McCray from Samford, played 18 minutes tonight, has started the last 2 games. Jalen Blackman from Stetson, 22 minutes tonight. Nigel Pack, a lot of guys who have played a lot of basketball, but at the same time, you have a Jaleel Bethea who 13 points tonight in 16 minutes. They bring him in kind of in the middle of the first half, and then same thing in the second half, and kind of let him play a little bit more in the second half there as they were up. But it's just different when he's on the floor. When Jaleel Bethea has the ball in his hands, the way that he can score his buckets is, you can tell he's a different animal out there, right? So I think he's someone who's going to continue to get his minutes increase as the season goes on here, and as you need someone to go get a bucket for you. And credit to Coach L and his staff for working him in there, I think, the right way. If you have, like I said, you have a lot of guys who have been accomplished players at this level. If you just say, hey, Jaleel, you're the starter right off the bat, we all know the talent he is, but he's got to earn that at this level. So to me, they're doing a good job working him in there. His talent's evident. Again, 13 points in 16 minutes for Jaleel Bethea. Paul Jobay, I want to shout him out again. Only, 1 field goal attempt in 12 minutes, but 4 rebounds. Another guy who just attacks the basketball when it's coming off the glass. Couple assists for him. Great, take at the basket. Makes a couple free throws there, got fouled. So to me, he's a guy who has an upward trajectory, arrow pointing up 1000%. Who else do we got to talk about here? There's someone I feel like I met. Well, Divine Ugochukwu. I've been talking about him for a couple weeks now since D Money and I had a chance to see him at practice. 3 for 3 from the floor today, 10 minutes played, 7 points. He had a couple turnovers, but an assist, a steal, just competes defensively, has some size. He's bigger than Nigel Pack, so I think there's going to be times where he can spell Bethea and Pack each of them. In ACC play to be exact. I think defensively he can defend, man, and he's got size and he's got athleticism, and he can eat some fouls up for you in the middle of the game there if need be. So he had another impressive performance. Austin Swartz came in and played some minutes in the middle of that second half there, hit a deep 3, and I think he's someone who's a very confident player. Inherently, I think in practice he's had some good moments from what I understand, but as he works into the offense, he's going to be someone who can contribute. He's a big time scorer. He can shoot it at a high level. He has real range. He has NBA range. So this is an interesting time now for these guys, these young guys who are vying for playing time, and we'll learn a lot as the tournament kicks off in a couple of weeks here. The Charleston tournament, where they have Drake round 1, a very solid program, a very solid team that Miami played a couple of years ago in round 1. The year that they won on their Final Four run. So we will find out a lot about who Coach L really trusts at that point in a couple weeks here. But it's like preseason, you know, in the NFL where guys are really trying to fight for snaps, and there's position battles, and foul trouble always comes into play during the season, right? I don't know if there's someone like a Norchad O'Meara who on this team who, if you get into foul trouble, you're like, wow, we're in real trouble. I think Lynn Kidd probably still, as your big man, is that, because the depth behind him isn't great right now. But Brandon Johnson, I've been impressed with what I've seen from a rebounding standpoint, with a physicality standpoint. And again, you're only playing. You've played Binghamton and who was it they played the other day? Fairleigh Dickinson, yeah, on Monday night. So the athletes aren't there. But again, if you were there today in person, I will say it again. Binghamton has some bodies, man. They have some dudes. Number 5, they had a backup, a guy coming off the bench at number 5, who wore number 5, who was a big man, probably about 6'10", had length, but he had a night. He was 6 for 10 from the field, 21 minutes, 12 points. You know, if anyone else is watching the game, tell me I'm crazy, but N Benson last name, and he was a good athlete, man. I would listen. Let me see what if he has any eligibility, but Miami, yeah, senior. So never mind. He's listed as 6'7". He looked about 6'8", 6'9", maybe 6'10" to me. So maybe I'm just off there. But Trenton Breeze, man, appreciate you. He says, "What's up, Pete? Listen to the post game while helping my dad." He says Divine will be the next Miami great market. He's really good, man. Divine, I love his demeanor on the floor. Again, you're playing the teams you're playing right now, so it's very difficult to kind of say, hey, these guys are surefire stars. But the way that he takes pressure and the way that he is able to control the floor, attack the paint the way that he does, and at his own pace, for being a freshman, that's something that's really developed over time. You know, if you're a point guard or someone who brings the ball up the floor, that's not an easy thing to develop, right? So the fact that he's shown all of this so early in his Miami career, I mean, we're 2 games in, so you have Arkansas in a few weeks here. You have this tournament coming up, so yes. Could there be some moments of anxiousness and things of that nature? Of course. But at the end of the day, we've seen a lot more early than I would even say a Keyshawn George. It took Keyshawn George a while to really get the speed of the game last year and get acclimated. And he's having a great start to his NBA career, right? So this is not to down on him. But if we're talking about the impact for this team right now, the way that it's structured, when you have a Nigel Pack, a Jalen Blackman, 2 of the best shooting guards in the country. Both of them have a really nice skill set, have range. If you can supplement that with these young guys and a Jaleel Bethea, who has the potential to be a top 10 pick, with a Divine Ugochukwu who can play both sides of the floor, who can dictate the tempo of a game, who can be physical on the defensive end of the floor, you're cooking. You have some real depth that, look, these Canes teams that have made Elite 8 runs, Final Four runs, they've been very special. I'm not going to take anything away from those teams. I'm not going to do any comparisons. I've done that in the past, and it has not been good. But what I'm saying is this mix is a different mix than what we've had from those teams. Not saying it's good, not saying it's bad. I think you're a little deeper, though. That to me is all I'm going to say. And if you disagree with me, or if you agree with me, let me know in the comments, because we're live right now, almost 400. Appreciate you all for hopping on here. Canes Hoops, man. I love to see the interest in it right now, because bad year last year, but historically Coach L has bounced back well from those. He has been around the block. We all know that. And at the same time, he lets his staff really do their job, right? He doesn't interfere with them. He lets them go recruit. He lets them coach. But at the end of the day, when he's that calming figure in everything that they're doing. So I expect a big year for them. New King God says we go into the Sweet 16 or Final Four. Look, man, all I'll say is this. I've seen a lot of publications having Miami 5th or 6th in the ACC. Duke, North Carolina are always going to be projected up there. Wake Forest has a really solid roster this year, and they've been moving in the right direction. UVA has been picked ahead of them. A lot of turmoil over there. Tony Bennett leaves. Some guys entering the portal. Listen, we'll see. He set a great foundation there. So I know he brought the assistant taking over has been there, and he came back from where he was at. But to me, it's a wobbly situation there. So if you're talking about finishing potentially anywhere from, like, I think 4th to 7th in the ACC, with the way the ACC shakes out this year, you should be a lower to mid-level seed, anywhere from maybe a 4 seed to like an 8 seed. And I think you can make a run from there. That's what these other Canes teams have made runs from, not being a top 3 seed. So, let's see, man. Let's have some fun with the season. I think New King God says team looks amazing. Like, I've seen a lot of early season Canes basketball over the years, and I agree. Like, this team is fun. This is modern basketball, right? I mean, like, I've been watching some college basketball, and like crazy numbers are being put up. That's what you see across the NBA right now as well. I think that's what you see, and you're gonna keep seeing in college basketball. But you have a lot of guys who can shoot on this Miami team. Like there's not too many guys out there who I would be like, man, get the ball out of his hands. A Paul Jobay, who admittedly, like, I would say last year, he was probably not the guy that you wanted the ball in his hands. He was doing a lot of good things from a defensive standpoint, from a rebounding standpoint, brought a lot of length and energy to the floor. But now, like, again, if you ask the staff, they would probably agree, like, look, he's in there to do certain things, but we don't want to rely on him offensively. He gets the ball now in transition, a couple times today, last game as well. Like, he's strong. He's put some good weight on. He's getting to the hoop with some real intent, and he's someone who I think could play a really nice role for this team. So you're deep, man. You're really, really deep. We'll see how the minutes shake out here, but yeah, Lynn Kidd, his numbers today, I don't think they were tremendous, but you feel his presence. They really are trying to throw it down to him, dump it down to him, and create an offensive game inside there. And he draws attention 1,000% from the from the opposing defense, and that inside outside game, I think, will be huge as the season goes on. So guys, I wanted to remind you all, as we almost have 500 live viewers here between Twitter, YouTube. Appreciate everyone for hopping on. Drop your questions in here. Appreciate everyone for supporting on a Sunday afternoon. I know we got NFL on and all that, but we're talking Canes hoops. But this show is brought to you, as all Canes hoops postgame shows will be brought to you by Aries Law, AriesLawPA.com. You see it up there. Aries Law is a full-service law firm with a specialty in estate planning. In business for over 36 years, we have a team of legal professionals dedicated to guiding and protecting you. If you are someone's child, grandchild, sibling, and most importantly, someone's parent, you need an estate plan. We prepare trusts, wills, powers of attorney, living wills, and all healthcare documents necessary to provide you the peace of mind you deserve. Schedule an appointment at no cost to you and see how we can protect your hard-earned assets. Plan your future so others don't. Aries Law. Again, Aries Law PA. Yes, that's my dad, so go support him, and one of the best attorneys in the country right there. Trust and wills, estate planning, very important. I know it's not something that people want to think about and want to really have to deal with, but very important. So go hit them up if you guys need that. So just wrapping things up here, coming up on like 20 minutes on this live show. Again, Thank you to everyone who's on here. As Jacoby Greg says, go Canes, smash that like button. Appreciate your support as always. But yeah, man, this it's been a good start to this Miami Hurricanes basketball season. Just pulling up the schedule here. Again, 2-0. You beat Binghamton today. You beat Fairleigh Dickinson, scoring 113 on Monday night, which was a great offensive performance. You have Coppin State on Sunday, believe in from Maryland, from Baltimore. So next week, a week from today, same thing. Sunday, 2 p.m. So we have a bye week in football. So let's go out there and support the Canes basketball team next Sunday. It's Coral Gables on a Sunday. Very, very easy to get in and out of these games. I always say it's the best ticket in town because the parking's not really an issue. You go get to see some of the best talents in college basketball, one of the most consistent products in college basketball right there in the middle of Coral Gables on campus. Nothing better to me. So next Sunday, November 17th, Coppin State. And then, of course, like I said, you have the tournament first round against Drake in Charleston. And we'll see what happens there. They'll probably have to play a few games in a row there. And then you have another home game, November 30th, which is a Saturday, I believe. Yes, Saturday. So this will be Wake Forest weekend, Syracuse weekend. It's going to be during a football game. Yeah, November 30th, 2 p.m. So, and then you have Arkansas at home, which is the ACC SEC Challenge, Calipari once again. So, should be very interesting these next few weeks here for Canes hoops. It was a great start to the season last year, but then as soon as you really hit some real, they won the tournament down in the Bahamas. They beat Kansas State in the championship, but that wasn't a Kansas State team that did much during the year. You played Colorado, who ended up being a team that was in the tournament, and they exposed Miami, and then there was a lot of exposing going on after that. Kentucky, same thing. I mean, just got boat race, got ran out of the building. Miami's going to have to see some real teams here now early in the season. Arkansas saw them play against Baylor last night. I think everything's still coming together for them. They could be a different team in a few weeks here. But you look at Miami and you say a lot of experience, learning how to play together. Can they make a run here early in the season where they build a nice resume? And again, ACC, I think, is wide open. Everyone just assumes Duke and Carolina, and Duke is special. I think they have, Cooper. Everyone talks about Cooper Flagg, but Kanipo, I don't know how to say his name. I'm sorry. But that kid is going to be an elite player, and he's going to be, I think, a lottery pick after this year. They have a lot of talent. But after Duke, which I think should be the favorite, Carolina, I talked to some people who follow that team closely, and there's not a whole lot of belief in Hubert Davis after this last season and understanding that he inherited a lot, right? So we'll see what happens here. Miami basketball in a nice situation moving forward here with a lot of talent, a lot of new pieces coming together. Coach L, I think his energy, he's reinvigorated. You see him on the sidelines. Again, been at the last couple games, and he's into it. I don't know that he loved the team last year. So listen, we'll keep following. We officially are past 500 live viewers here. Appreciate everyone for hopping on here tonight on the Canes Insight Instant Reaction. Canes hoops beating Binghamton 2-0 start to the season. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, check out canesinsight.com. Go Canes.